That's a good segue to the Rogan deal as well, because he's another one.
Yeah. So did you see the big Rogan news from the other day?
Yes.
This is. I like the sound effects we've got.
Everyone's excited. He's making money. They're not.
Yes. So you're gonna have to explain this to me, Hacker. Hacker, and I applauded your knowledge of YouTube earlier. Maybe you could Google this one as well.
Okay.
Why is it worth $50 million more to make Rogan not exclusive to Spotify?
Okay, because it will create more income streams. So when he posts on YouTube,
so they've given up. They've given up on being a content house, basically.
Spotify. Well, I've seen millions of Joe Rogan clips on channels that aren't Joe Rogan. Right. So those people are making money, and you can strike them down, but they come fast with Joe Rogan clips because they know they can make a lot of money quick with those shorts. And so what it does is it just says, give us control of all these streams. I think it's actually the smart move for once by Spotify. Now give us more money as musicians, you assholes.
Yeah, because I never understood. So the deal with Simmons is they acquired The Ringer for $65 million or whatever it was. But all the Ringer podcasts were not exclusive to Spotify, and I never understood that. So it's basically that they now own Rogan's, or a portion of Rogan's advertising, essentially, right? They give him $250 million, say you're on every platform, but we get your income. Like, Rogan's not making any money off the podcast anymore.
Correct.
Other than
this was probably advertisers reaching out to Spotify saying, hey, widen your reach. I mean, we understand the Howard Stern model worked before streaming and what we currently have. It's too broken up. There's too many options. You need to own all your streams. You need to own everything and monetize them all. And that's now what they're doing.
And he was getting millions of views on YouTube before a lot of podcasts were doing that. Now you look at that Cat Williams interview getting 40 million views or whatever it's up to now. Like, Rogan will do that pretty consistently, I think.
Oh, let's get Cat Williams on the Blind Mike Project, people. Stop the hashtag.
That would be nice.
Oh.
Cat Williams ever go through a comedy at the Carlson, Vinny?
No, we have not had Cat. Cat's plays some pretty big rooms.
It is too cold in this broth. What is this city? I am out of this cold city. That's my Cat Williams.
It was not. It's not as bad as it should have
been. Thank you. All right, I'll go in the back again. I'm sorry.
I don't know. Any other thoughts on this Spotify deal? Because it is pretty wild. Like, I do get the logistics of it, but it's weird to me that Spotify was like, "Hey, let's make Spotify the home for all these podcasts." They get Call Her Daddy, they get Bill Simmons, they get the ones that you knew would fail, but like Meghan Markle and Obama and Springsteen and all that shit. But they sunk all this money into having exclusive rights for podcasting, and now they're paying Rogan even more to be like, "Do it everywhere. We don't give a fuck."
Well, I guess the question is, the reality, how much money is Rogan worth it? Are they bringing in off of Rogan already? And what would happen if they lost that income? So it's like, do we pay him $50 million more to keep him and keep all this money coming in and possibly be able to make it back in new revenue streams? It would be probably, for what they've already invested, a big loss to lose him.
It tells you that it must be the first version of this deal must have been a success, though, right? If they're giving him more money now.
Yeah, of course.
We all, I think everyone owes Rogan an apology, because when that started, you were looking at the certain episodes that weren't going up, and everyone was like, "Oh, he's woke now. He's changed. They've bought him into the woke mob." And like they said, he wasn't going to start, or he was going to stop talking about the vaccine and all that stuff. He's only annoyed them more since all that happened. Like, he probably doesn't talk about the vaccine as much now as he used to, but like, that never stopped. He never changed who he was, even after like the whole N-word controversy and all that. So you got to give him credit for that. They've been throwing hundreds of millions of dollars at him, and he hasn't changed what he's doing at all, really.
Almost $500 million. This guy's got. It's incredible.
In a matter of 3 years. Like, I don't know how long this $250 million goes for, but I assume $200 million was the first 2 years they had him, right? If they're re-upping.
Yeah, I believe it was 2020. Was it right at the tail end of the pandemic that they signed him?
I think it was December of 21 that he started with Spotify.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously they had to be making money.
Yeah. And keep in mind, these media companies make mistakes, and they make it big investments, big swings. You remember this company that sent satellites into space, and that's how we were going to get our radio. How ridiculous was that? They could have just waited for the T1 lines to get done. I mean, Sirius spent billions of dollars on satellites that are no longer useful for what we do in this, as far as media consumption. So, they make some mistakes in media companies.
That must be the trend now, though, because you bring up Sirius. They gave Smartless $100 million. And I thought the same thing. I was like, wait, they're giving them $100 million to be on Sirius? But no, they're just distributing the pod. So the pod, you get the Will Arnett, Jason Bateman podcast the same as you used to, but they're just getting paid $100 million to do it now. It's crazy.
It's the dream for podcasters. I mean, everybody knew that podcasts were going to take over, and I guess I never really saw this be the direction that it would be, where corporations are going to shell out, hundreds of millions of dollars for a show. I thought, to me, I always thought podcasts were going to go in the direction of like the fans self-support, fans Patreon and stuff like that. But now corporations, yeah. But the creepoff.com/Patreon, whatever the fuck it is. Yes. But I just never thought that this was going to be the path that podcasts took. It's amazing to see. I'm surprised.
Yeah, I hear this conversation happening a lot on podcasts now, particularly with comedians saying like, "Oh, podcasting is dead," or "Podcasting has jumped the shark." I don't understand that logic. Maybe like, shorter podcasts are doing better now than long form or whatever, but we're still in such an age where people consume content constantly. Like, content creators are growing 10 years ago I wouldn't be able to do this and make a living, but now I can. I think that's continuing to grow and evolve, and I don't think that's dying anytime soon. I think it's changing maybe how you make money, but I still think there are people that are getting into podcasting that will be successful. But I hear a lot of comics talk and say like, "Oh, it's dead, now we have to be on TikTok or whatever."